You can see the water
All
down
second
in
stage
getting
tanks
in
now
there now.
pressurized. 35 seconds and counting. We are still go with Apollo 11. 30 seconds and counting. Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, it looks good, Wally.
We came all this way to explore the moon, and the most important thing is that we discovered the Earth. Those were the words of astronaut Bill Anders in 1968 after his first mission to the moon. As he looked out the window of his spacecraft, he caught a glimpse of something no human had ever seen before. The Earth rising over the moon's horizon, a blue dot floating in the vast expanse of space. The photo he took of that moment, titled Earthrise, forever changed the way that we viewed the Earth. The oceans, seemingly limitless, make up over 70% of its surface, beneath which lives 99% of Earth's life. Hidden beneath the ocean's surface lies a mesmerizing array of ecosystem, home to millions of plant and animal species, most of which are still unknown to us. From vibrant gardens of coral, teeming with life, to the mysterious depth of the ocean floor, which we know less about than the surface of Mars. The breadth and wonder of our sea never cease to amaze. However, in just the last 50 to 100 years, the brief span of a single human lifetime, our oceans have been exploited past the point of recognition. Today's generation have grown up surrounded by the seeming normality of coast, seabed, and seas, scarred by countless passes of bottom trawl, the extermination of marine life and biodiversity from commercial fishing, widespread acidification, coral bleaching, and saturated with microplastic. Beneath the ocean lies a diverse ecosystem which we will never truly understand because of its ever-expanding diversity and the number it holds within its habitat. Squids frolic under the water with their tentacles and arms. Salmon swim in schools hoping to survive dolphin feeding, and crab crawl along its seabed looking for new shells. To think that these ecosystems on land, water, and in the air came from single-celled organisms and grew in complexity, diversity, and variety. However, our ecosystem that once thrived in any circumstances is now rapidly losing numbers that they used to excel in, with their habitats being killed off and depleting into a place where only a select few can survive this rapid change that we, the dominant species, are making happen at a rate that has never been seen before. Not just entire species are becoming extinct because of our actions, but our entire planet is affected by this change. During this documentary, we will be outlining some of the problems in our ocean and why they are happening. One of the many causes that our oceans are dying is due to overfishing. The word itself is quite self-explanatory. Every year, between 1 and 3 trillion fish are being fished up. This does not only mean that it is killing between 1 and 3 trillion fish, but overfishing affects the whole food chain. To put it simply, if we attack the food that is low on the food chain, it will have a big impact. For example, if we were to overfish small fishes, then they won't be able to feed their predators, which won't be able to feed their predators, which depend on these small fishes. Therefore, even though it is a very small fish, if fished in big amounts, it leads to the extinction of many underwater creatures, including turtles and even many species of corals. And when more and more marine species go extinct, the food chain crumbles down even more. Another cause of the killing of over 100 million marine animals each year is plastic pollution. This is because some predators, such as turtles or even whales, might confuse the plastic for their prey. For example, there's a very famous image of a turtle trying to eat a plastic bag. This harms the marine wildlife in a multitude of ways. Firstly, as they ingest the plastic, it can infect the animal, but also cause laceration inside of the body. But it might also fill their stomach, and not being able to properly process it, the animal would die of starvation. Sadly, it doesn't end there. The plastic can also hinder the swimming abilities of certain marine life, meaning that they would be unable to hunt or protect themselves, and would probably end up dying of starvation or getting killed. But as plastic decomposes and turns into microplastics, it can have a toxic effect on the marine life. It can fill up their stomachs, which, as we said, would result in death by starvation, but it could delay the growth of the marine animal, meaning that it can only start to hunt until later, making them a lot more dependent on their parents, and it can even cause abnormal behaviors. There has been evidence that sea animals have been eating waste thrown onto the sea by humans. This plastic is going to affect not only the sea animals, but us as well. This is because when these sea animals die, the carbon dioxide inside of their body is released into the ocean. This makes the pH level of the ocean lower and makes the sea toxic for a lot of sea animals, but it also makes said sea animals toxic to us. This means that when we consume said fish, we get affected, risking inflammations and even DNA damage. Over the years, we have taken a lot from our oceans, and today we realize that this is not an option. Marine life is decaying at an alarming rate, and one way to slow it down would be to reduce overfishing. This, though, is easier said than done. The best way to fight against this major problem is to help out charities by donating to them, as they will have a much bigger impact. Most of the plastic that we throw away comes from one-use plastic items. For example, plastic straws, plastic bags, packaged food, and so much more. Currently, the world is reusing plastic by melting plastics and reinforcing it into a new shape for a new purpose. This way, it can reduce the amount of plastic waste that goes into the wasteland, but there's just way too much plastic to reuse. So the first step in reducing the amount of plastic that ends up in the ocean would be to reduce the amount of single-use plastic items used in your day-to-day life. For example, replacing plastic straws with metal or glass ones, replacing plastic bottles with metal ones, or replacing plastic bags with bags made of fabric. Finally, for the single-use plastic that you do use, make sure that it gets recycled. This can be remembered using the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. You can also make a difference by donating, even a little bit, to a charity which aims to clean the oceans, such as Just One Ocean, the Ocean Cleanup, or even Plastic-Free Seas. Another major cause of the decay of our oceans is the rise of CO2 levels in our atmosphere. This is because it lowers the pH of our oceans, and many fishes can't adapt fast enough to the drastic change made to their natural environment, which causes a lot of species to die out. Helping to lower the CO2 levels would not only benefit the oceans, but also the whole world, as the rising carbon dioxide levels are the cause of climate change, which impacts the lives of every single living being on Earth, increasing the likelihood of floods, and natural disasters, destroying the habitats of many species, such as the polar bear, and destroying many icebergs and glaciers. There are many small actions that can be taken in order to reduce your carbon footprint. For example, instead of driving to work or to school, it is better to walk, bike, or take public transport. It is a good idea to try to save energy, turning off the lights when they are not being used, but also turning off the air conditioner when you are not home. Not only will this lower the electricity bills, but it will also produce a lot less carbon dioxide. We will not go much further into detail for this documentary, but if you want to find out more about how to reduce climate change, you can go to the United Nations website. In 2015, the 193 countries of the United Nations General Assembly came together to agree on a blueprint for the continued prosperity of our planet. 17 global goals that we should strive to achieve by the year 2030. These were made to better our planet, ranging from ending poverty to equal education for all, and of course, life below water, or Goal 14. In each goal, the United Nations added specific details on their targets and how they are going to achieve them. The main sub-goals of Goal 14, according to the United Nations website, are to reduce marine pollution, protect and restore ecosystem, reducing ocean acidification, meaning reducing the levels of CO2 in the atmosphere as we talked about previously, sustainable farm fishing, increasing the economic benefits from sustainable use of marine resources, which would reduce overfishing, and finally to implement and enforce international sea law, which has actually been achieved quite recently. For more detailed information on these goals and targets, you can visit the United Nations website. In conclusion, our oceans are dying. This is of course due to many factors, including ocean acidification, plastic pollution, and of course, overfishing. And if we do nothing about it, the source of food for many people is just going to diminish over time, destroying a whole ecosystem and the whole food chain. But all is not in vain, as there are many things that you can do to improve the state of the oceans. 30 years ago, the oceans were completely different to how they are today. The coral reef was known to be an astonishing sight. However, nowadays it just became another wasteland. If this goes on, what image will we see in the future? Would you want to live in that world? Would you want to have your children see that world? Therefore, why not take small actions which will eventually save the world? If you won't, no one will.